Hello, I'm Amy Paulson, and I want to welcome you to our discussion of defining variables and data types in Visual Basic. Every programming language has different criteria for creating variables. In this video, I'd like to show you how to create a variable in Visual Basic. Variables can be imagined as a container or a box that holds a piece of information. The variable may be set by the programmer when she is creating the program, but perhaps more interestingly, a variable can be input by the user of the program. We'll see an example of this in a few minutes. When creating a variable, it is important to use a meaningful name that can remind you of the data that the variable is holding. For example, if I want to collect data about the age of a person, I might call that variable age. In Visual Basic, the name of any variable is a series of alphanumeric characters. All variable names must begin with a letter of the alphabet. The letters may be upper or lower case, and the list of letters and numbers cannot contain any spaces or keyboard symbols aside from the underscore. Let's take a look at a few names that we might use for a variable in Visual Basic. On the left side, we see two acceptable names: favorite color, which has no space between the two words, or favorite color, where favorite and color are separated by an underscore. The two names on the right would not be acceptable for the name of a variable in Visual Basic. The top name has a space between the two words favorite and color, and the second name, the lower name, begins with the number. It's good practice to identify the type of data that will be stored by a variable. This is known as the data type. One common data type is a string. A string is a list of characters that usually includes letters. Although a string can be a number, it's important to remember that mathematical calculations cannot be performed with strings. If you may want to perform math with your variable, it's much better to define your variable with one of the following two data types: integer or double. An integer is a number that contains no decimal, and a double is a number that may contain a decimal. Now let's take a look at a simple program that asks the user to input the variable first name, and then uses this variable in a message. I have the bones of the program already in place, and I'm ready to define my variable. In Visual Basic, you tell the computer that you are defining a variable by starting your line of code with dim, or D-I-M. I will call this variable first name, and since a name is a word, I will identify the data type as a string. I have already entered a message into the program. When I type a name into this text box, the program will put the text into my first name variable. You can see that the name Amy has been entered into the variable, and the message reads, "Hello, Amy." If I choose to change the variable name, for example, to Robert, the value of first name is now Robert, and Robert has been inserted into our message. In this video, we have reviewed how to create and name a variable in Visual Basic. I hope that you're able to join me again soon.